Hello, everybody. Welcome to Comedically Correct. I am Andrew Holiday.
And I'm Selena Martinez.
Yes, and a few announcements. We are doing another troll doll giveaway to my favorite troll comment, or our favorite troll comment, that is. And in today's episode, we will be discussing the hard-hitting news as McDonald's McFlurry machine is broken again. Olivia Rodrigo, we're going to talk about her and some of the well, she's given away millions of dollars because of some of her songs may or may not be stolen or copied.
Mm-hmm.
The Jeopardy host situation is a volatile situation. We're going to be discussing that, and we're going to talk about them, deleting certain episodes of our favorite TV shows. I have an article here, but there's actually a lot of that about that I want to talk about specifically. But today we are going to start with a French woman was arrested for stealing jewelry off of corpses.
I mean, it's not the first story I've heard of like that. It's happened. That's where grave robbers come from.
Yeah.
Like the term grave robber, it's a very common occurrence. Although hopefully it's not as common anymore.
Well, it's
And
one
I
of
think
those.
there are worse things. I think there are worse things you could do to a corpse than steal the jewelry. Because also, why are you burying a corpse with jewelry anyway?
Well, because I don't know, you want to bury your loved ones with nice things, I guess. I don't know.
I want to be cremated. I don't know.
I did want to be cremated until you know, I also want to come back if there's zombies. So I thought about
A
that.
joke.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
want to be a zombie.
oh dude, I would love to be a zombie. Like if I'm gonna die and then there's like a zombie outbreak, like I want to be on one side of that.
If I'm gonna be a zombie, I want to be like a pretty zombie.
Oh, no.
I just
There's no.
that's why I don't want to be a zombie. It's because they're all ugly.
Yeah.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah, zombies are
I
usually
know it's
not
how you live
pretty.
your life, but it's
Well, even pretty people like some there's a comic book that I've been meaning to read called The Zombie Tramp,
mm-hmm.
and it's about this like hooker zombie that just keeps on taking over the bodies of like other women and stuff like that. I actually don't know exactly what it's about, but I keep
Is she
seeing
a
it around.
zombie or is she like a demonic presence? How is she taking over other people's bodies?
I think a little bit of both.
Is it
Like she
like okay? Is it like in the most recent Men in Black movie where she like the alien comes down to the planet and sees like a magazine or like a billboard of like a really hot woman and then like morphs into that woman?
That's Men in Black 2. That's not the most recent one. That's like
Oh, okay.
2 movies ago. But yeah, Laura Flynn Boyle. Yeah, something like that. But no, she doesn't morph into it. She actually I guess takes over her body. My brother read it and gave me a small synopsis of it. My
So
brother,
is it like Jennifer's body?
no,
No.
but Jennifer's Body, underrated movie.
Yeah, actually really good.
Yeah.
Um cuz I love the way I don't know, there were parts of it like okay, so the thing that they did with like the relationship between the two girls in the movie, I liked the kind of mean it cuz a lot of times girls are very mean, especially like pretty girls. They're really mean to their other friends that are not as pretty. Especially like
Hmm.
in high school, that's just how you like assert your dominance. But I also think they kind of took it too far with some of the names that she would call her friend.
Needy.
Like I think she called yeah, well, not needy.
No, her name
Like
was
she called
Needy.
her yeah, I know, but I was like that well her name is Anita.
Yeah, but she called her Needy.
Yeah. But I think the worst thing she like called her a tampon or something and I was like girls don't call other girls tampons. That's something that guys call other guys.
Oh yeah.
Or like guys, that was like that's how I knew like a man wrote the script because some of the ways that he would make fun of her like or that Jennifer would make fun of Needy, it was very like this is how guys talk to each other, this is not how girls talk to each other. Girls, when they insult you, it's a lot more insidious, like it's more, especially in high school, like it's more
I think
backhanded.
I think that's true. The screenplay was written by Diablo Cody. It was a female. Same girl
Oh,
that
okay.
wrote Juno. But yeah, there was
The
like
movie wasn't.
I know the screenplay.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
um, but Diablo Cody, she actually used to be a stripper, so she used to be a pretty mean girl. Um, but yeah, I think that there was like a little bit of like realism issues I thought there, but
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a problem whenever she was like vomiting up buckets and buckets of blood. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then she called her friend a tampon, and I was like, this is unrealistic.
yeah, I mean, like I would never.
That's where I draw the line.
I think that'd be true, like, because that's actually something that I thought of too. Is like dudes do that shit.
Yeah.
Like dudes, like I've never been called a tampon specifically, but I've been called some pretty mean, derogatory
Well,
things.
and I have never in my life heard a girl call another girl a tampon, like as an insult. Because a tampon is like, it's not an insult because it's just like a neutral thing. It's like calling somebody a chair.
I mean, like it might even be a compliment. Like it's reliable, absorbent, like a safety
Depends.
net. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I don't want to get into it.
What now? You want to be bashful about periods?
I I hate periods. That's why I
I
don't
hate
let
them
women
too, but
like when women periods, like I don't even let people finish sentences. That's how much I hate periods. I
you
tried that
only
joke
use
on
exclamation marks.
yeah, explanation parts or question marks. If you end in ellipses, that's okay. Or you know what? That's even worse. That's 3 periods.
You
So
said you
uh
tried that joke? I like that joke. That is funny.
yeah, no, I tried that on stage. There's so many things that I think are like super clever and they don't work on stage. I don't know if you've ever met Adam. Adam Lee. He's a comedian friend of mine. Uh, like I don't think this of all of his jokes, but he has one joke where it was really clever. I'm gonna butcher the joke, but it was something about like fat people scientifically have more matter. So for some reason we think skinny people matter more, but fat people scientifically matter more. Like
Yeah.
I'm messing it up, guys. Understand that the way he said it was funny, but for some reason, just crickets. Like he like one of these days
Did
he's
he
gonna
only tell it once?
well he's told it a few times
Oh,
and
okay.
each time he's like I know this is funny and I was like I think you're right.
Yeah.
I, I don't it's just that like
Maybe the delivery is wrong, or maybe
maybe
I don't know.
the
Maybe
I blame the
the
audience on this
audience is
one.
like, is he calling us fat?
Is he calling us? No, I don't think that they understand that like matter is
Is how much of something there is.
yeah. So I don't I blame the
He's
audience
just
on
telling the
that
joke in
specific
Midland
one.
because they're kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's part of
that
it.
happens.
It was making fun of Houston drivers today in front of Houston drivers, and then she thought, like, I think I offended the lady, offended my nurse today.
What do you mean?
Right before a surgery, well, I had a bronch today,
Hmm.
and so like as they were setting me up, I was like, I don't know if they have a driving age in Houston, Texas, and like the guy didn't know that I was joking. He's like, they, I'm pretty sure they have a driving age here, and then she's like, he's making fun of us. I was like, yeah, you guys are horrible drivers here.
Yeah, there. I mean, I don't. I have because I have a aunt that lives in Houston. My sister kind of lives over in that area, and people there they just drive like aggressive.
Yeah, and like stop signs are just suggestions.
Yeah, they're just crazy. They're like always running lights, and it's like, what are you? Why are
It's
you
like,
in such a hurry? Like, relax, have a cigarette, listen to a podcast. You'll get there eventually.
yeah, that's a decision that I made a long time ago. Was like, I'm never gonna drive like I'm in a hurry, and I am
Yeah.
still alive today.
Well, because if I'm in a hurry, it's my fault. Like, because I
Yeah,
can't manage my time well.
yeah. It's
I'm
so
late to work every single day, and I never drive more than like 70 miles an hour on the loop because I'm like, I don't really care.
yeah,
I'm late, and this is my fault.
yeah. Like I'm not gonna kill like a family of 4 just to
No,
be on time.
no,
Also, if
because
I
if you kill them, then you're really late.
yeah. So Comedy Central canceled an episode of The Office or removed it from its lineup because it was offensive.
Which episode was it?
Um, Racial sensitivity,
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
is it? It's pretty
I
funny
mean,
though.
it's very racially insensitive, but it is funny. But also, this TV show is from like 15 goddamn years ago. Like, this is a very old TV show, and at the whole point of Michael's character was that he was very insensitive, very
Stupid.
racially unaware, very like he didn't know how to really treat women like with respect. He didn't
Yeah.
really treat anybody with respect, but he was a really nice, caring guy.
Yeah, he was a nice guy
Like
that was
I
just
think,
dumb.
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like him that are kind of just like stupid and like don't always say the right things, but genuinely are nice people. Like
Yeah.
he always made such horrible, and it's like he's still a creep. Don't get me wrong. And he always made such horrible, creepy comments to Pam, like sexual stuff.
Yeah.
But he was the only person who showed up to her art gallery thing,
Yeah.
and
That
like
is
was
true.
really complimentary to her about her art. So I think it was just like he was a complex character that I think people are trying to say like, I don't know. I don't think it's worth canceling.
My problem is I don't know what they're trying to protect us from.
I mean, no,
Like,
that it aired like a decade ago. Like it aired so long ago. It's already out there.
yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, like, and it's one thing like saying like you don't want to make those episodes now or whatever, which I don't necessarily agree with just because you're just because the way that they did it was they were saying that there was the butt of the joke was Michael's character being
Yeah,
so dumb,
right.
not not that the so
Not
the
that
butt of the
racial sensitivity training is
yeah,
dumb. Like the butt of the joke is that Michael is an idiot.
yeah. And for now, like they're deleting episodes of TV shows. Some of them are really great TV shows, and some of them are the best episodes of those TV shows because of a perceived offensiveness. Like something that like I don't know anybody that watches that and doesn't get that it's a joke.
Right. Well, and the like, okay, so we're gonna delete this episode of the TV show because Michael is an idiot and was racially insensitive and like whatever. But there are so many TV shows that have depictions of violence, of rape, of murder. Like we're not gonna not show that, even though that I think is worse.
Yeah, and there's
Like
like
we understand it's a TV show.
yeah, and it's art. Like it's well, it's art or it's trying to
I
create
don't think
like a
I've
point.
ever I don't think I've ever heard somebody refer to The Office as art, but
It,
I mean technically it is, yeah.
yeah, like I don't think comedy should be like I think comedy's an art, but I don't think comedians should look at it like that. It's one of those
I
things like
think yeah. I mean it's when you say it's an art, it's like kind of pretentious, even though it
yeah,
is one, but it's like I mean
you can't be pretentious and that like you can't be pretentious
and like
and
do fart
purposely funny.
jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y- it's
This
it's
is
it,
my art.
yeah, like like you can be pretentious and be a poet. You can be pretentious and be a songwriter. But if you're a comedian like and you're pretentious, like it just grosses people out.
Yeah. That actually I think I should talk about this. So I want to do a gossip, like a comedy gossip podcast where we have guests and we gossip about things happening in different comedy scenes.
Hmm.
So I posted about it on this like comedians Facebook page. It's like displaced comedians. It was started like at the beginning of the pandemic so people could like find Zoom shows and other stuff to do. Um, while everybody was kind of stuck inside. And so I posted that I was like, I'm gonna start this podcast. Would people listen to it? Like, do you think people would listen to it? And so many people, like some people were like, yeah, we'd listen to it, but I think it's a horrible thing to do. Like, blah blah, gossip is childish or whatever. Which I'm like, yeah, but everybody gossips. Gossip is forever.
Yeah,
Like, I work with women that are in their 60s and they gossip all the time. I don't
yeah,
know anybody who doesn't gossip. Like, that's what we do as human beings. That's how we talk to each other. That's how we communicate. Everybody does it. But it was just annoying to me that like somebody was like, "You're not elevating the art of stand-up comedy by doing this really toxic thing," which is like I haven't even started doing it. I'm gonna do it, but I haven't started doing it yet. But people were so like, "This is an insult to comedy. That's not even funny that she would do that." I was like, "No, it is. You're being sensitive. It's funny." Like
Yeah.
Also, like I was like the same chuds that are commenting on this, like you shouldn't do that, you're an idiot, you're immature, blah blah blah, are 100% like Joe Rogan listeners.
Oh yeah.
It's like you think he doesn't gossip about other comedians, he doesn't gossip about other people? What do you think 4 hours of that show is? Like it's fucking gossip. He's
Yeah.
taking ivermectin, which he heard about through gossip. Like I think people were just like, "Oh, you're gonna just accuse everybody." It was like, first of all, if there was like a situation where somebody was like, "I think so and so is a rapist," I'm not gonna say, you know, Andrew is a rapist. I'm gonna say, fluffy face, poop face, whatever. I'm gonna give a code name to the person that's being accused and to the person that's accusing them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, that's also like that's something that like I think you could probably like you have to like be careful with just because like I
Right.
think they can sue you, but also yeah.
I mean,
It's
not if I
also it's
don't say their
unfair.
name.
Well, yeah. If you don't say their name, you can say
I'm
whatever.
talking about anybody.
Yeah. Please
Also,
please don't call me fluffy face, guys.
but also, I feel like I think that's what people thought that the podcast.
You froze.
I froze.
Yeah, just for a second. People
Oh, okay.
thought that that podcast was.
Yeah, they thought it was just going to be like a bunch of negative gossip, but it's like that's going to be part of it. But also, it's going to be like, I mean, in every city, sometimes there's like warring comedy factions. Like, so I listened to a podcast called Why You Mad by Jake Flores and um, Louisa Diaz, and they're like the opposite of like the Skankfest guys. You know the Skankfest guys, like you don't know Skankfest? I'm trying to think of like who they are. Louis J. Do you know who Louis J. Gomez is?
I think I've heard that name. Yeah.
Okay, so the guy that I listen to is Jake Flores, and him and Louis used to be like friends, and they would do comedy and stuff together all the time. But Louis just started being like a horrible person. I don't know. They had like this big falling out, so they're always talking about each other. They're always adding each other like on Twitter, just like talking shit about each other. And people get so into it, like people troll, like especially the Skankfest guys. They're always trolling, uh, like Jake and Louisa. And like on, if you ever look at videos of like Jake Flores, there's always a million comments underneath that's like, "This guy sucks. Louis J. Gomez was right about this cuck." Like they're always saying stuff like that to him. So that was so funny to me that like I posted that I'm gonna do this comedy gossip thing, and people were like, "It's a bad idea,
Oh
and
no,
it's gonna ruin your life."
no, I completely agree with you. Like, yeah, like it's definitely something you want to be careful about, but like at the same time, like I think first off, I think everything is comedy. Like I think comedy is, you know, but at the same time, like go gossip's just fun. Like I can't think of like anybody other than
It's
my
just
grandpa that didn't gossip.
yeah, and that's
All right, now your audio cut out.
oh shit. Hold on. Okay, am I
Did you say
back?
that? Yeah, say that one more time.
Okay. I was gonna say your grandpa probably just didn't gossip because he only said like 4 words a day.
Yeah,
Like
something like
he
that.
just didn't talk. That's why.
Yeah. Like I can think of like a couple of people like in my life that like weren't like huge gossipers, but at the same like I try not to, but at the same time like one time me and another comedian friend were having a falling out and everybody was asking me about it. Like how many times I had to explain it to the point where like I just like it just became like second nature. Like I was like this happened and this happened and this happened. I don't know. She was upset about a selfie I took.
Yeah.
And
Well, and it's like, I mean, gossip doesn't always have to be negative.
sure.
Gossip can sometimes be like, "Oh, I've been watching this comedian in my city for a long time and they're doing great and I'm really excited for like that's gossip too.
Yeah.
It's positive. But
It's
it was just
positive.
funny to me that there was this guy that he was like, "If you ever mention me or my friends, I'll troll you to the ends of the earth." And I was like, "Okay."
Well, you
And
want
then
that
like two
because
comments later, yeah, and I was like, "Well, you can just hate listen to it anyway. I don't care."
yeah.
But like 2 comments later, he was like, "How old are you? That's really immature." And I was like, "You just said you would troll me to the ends of the earth if I talked about you and your friends, and that's not immature. But I'm immature because I want to gossip." Okay, okay.
I see you.
it was really fun. Like the whole interaction. There's like 100 comments on that freaking post that I did, and people just like, yeah, do it. I think it'll be funny, or no, I think it'll be bad. And I guess because I don't post in that group and I don't interact very much, people think I've like never done stand-up comedy before. Because they were like, you should focus on getting good at comedy first and like connecting with the audience. And
Yeah.
people were like, okay, but that's hard and it's easier to talk shit. I was like, no, I actually do stand-up like I am good at comedy and I can be good at comedy and have a gossip podcast at the same time. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah. Don't you think it's funny when you get like, have you ever gotten like advice from a comedian that wasn't, well, like maybe not necessarily it wasn't as good as you, but like advice on comedy when you're like, I've already been doing it for a while.
Yeah. When it's like I know I'm not an expert or whatever, but like it's funny because the same people that were like, you shouldn't do this, and everybody's telling you not to do it and you shouldn't do it, are the same people that are like, why can't I say the N word?
That's
Like it's the
that's
same.
me.
It's like these people have this attitude about comedy where you should be able to do whatever you want, despite what other people tell you, even if they're more experienced than you. But then they're turning around and telling me I'm more experienced than you and you should do what I say.
Yeah.
But if
Where
somebody told them what to do, they'd be like, how about you go fuck yourself? So I don't know. It was, and people are still like somebody commented on it today, and I think I posted it like last week. But I don't know. It's been very interesting, very funny to me.
definitely want to check that out now.
Some people have actual good, like helpful responses. They're like, well, I don't know that it's really going to help you, and it might get you in trouble, and people might not want to book you. But I do think people will listen to it, and everybody loves gossip. Like some people had like good things to say or like helpful kind of feedback, but a lot of people were just like,
Trying to think.
you must be a shitty comedian for wanting to do this. And I was like, I mean, whatever.
No, I disagree. Gossip's fun. Like
Yeah.
there's like a whole like they rebooted Gossip Girl.
That's how good gossip is. Like that's how much people love gossip.
Yeah. And
What do you think reality TV shows are?
yeah, like 80% of it is like them like gossiping about each other, even though they know they're on camera. And
Yeah. Like that's what talk shows are.
mhm.
Even in like sports, which you would think would be devoid of gossip, is not devoid of gossip at all. Like
Oh yeah. No, like Max Kellerman just left First Take, and like that's like I've read like 8 articles about that
I don't know
on
what
like
that means, but that's gossip. Like
yeah. I don't forget that Selena needed to Google what a basketball looked like.
yeah, I did.
So she's not the sports expert.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't consider myself a sports expert, but I love sports, which is why we have so much to talk about when it comes to the sporting stories,
I mean, I like the sporting stories that are gossip. Like
like the Dinger.
those are the ones I pay attention to. Yeah.
Yeah, like Alex Rodriguez and his new post. But back to what we were talking about a second ago, just because I want to make this point. Um, I don't know who we're protecting when you're like deleting episodes from like the air.
Yeah.
Like there's been like 2 episodes of 30 Rock that you can't find anywhere. Um, there's an episode of Community that so there's 2 episodes of Community. One episode, nobody does blackface, but it got deleted because somebody did blackface, even though nobody does blackface in that episode. And then there's an episode later on where a character does brownface and nobody said anything about it. So okay,
Yeah,
so
I think
there's
people get upset about the wrong things sometimes.
yeah. So a character in an episode, it's actually probably one of the best episodes of Community was the Dungeons and Dragons episode. I don't know if you've seen it or you're familiar with it,
I
but a
know
character,
Community, but
yeah, but it
I don't
deals
really
with
overwatch it.
bullying, suicide, all that stuff, right? But at the beginning of it, there's a character who is dressed up like a dark elf, right? He's not in blackface. He's dressed up as a dark elf, Chang.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because Shirley, she's like, "Are we just gonna ignore this hate crime over here?" And he's like, "I'm a dark elf or a drow,"
Mm-hmm.
and he's not dressed as like he's not in blackface. He's dressed like as a dark elf, but it looks horrible.
Yeah, because he's dark. He put
Yeah,
paint on his skin to make himself look darker.
yeah, but he's dressed up as a drow, and he's Brutalitops, the magician. Anyway, so you can't find that episode anywhere now. They delete that episode, but later on, Pierce dresses up as like some Alibaba like magician character and does brown face during it, and nobody had anything to say about that episode
Yeah.
because I think that like somebody just watched that show and was like, I decide this is offensive. I'm gonna write a blog about it, and then it catches traction on Twitter or whatever.
Well, and
And
then if one of the characters, pointed out like, hey, we're not going to talk about this hate crime, like if they pointed it out to talk about it, I think that's important too. Like they weren't just like all cool with it. Like,
yeah, it was mentioned in the episode that it looked bad.
yeah, yeah, it does look bad. Like it's the wrong thing to do. But all you could be like, hey, don't do that because it looks like blackface, and he could be like, oh, my bad. Like,
Yeah, well, and he was like the dumbest character in the show is Chang, and but yeah, like if like that's like one of those things that I was saying is like if it's done in a way to where it's just like people don't get sarcasm or satire anymore, like, and for some reason we need to protect people from that, and I don't know, I don't
yeah,
like the idea.
I think that is a good question. Like, who are they protecting? Because it's not protecting anybody. Like,
Yeah, like
because the
somebody
other
said,
thing is like if this hurts your feelings, you can also just not watch it.
yeah,
Because it's not really something that like it's not meant to be hurtful. Like it's meant to point out a characteristic of the person in this TV show, or like, because to
yeah,
pretend that like there aren't people who do that kind of stuff
yeah.
is
Well,
unrealistic. Like,
yeah, like when they brought to light like college parties, like there was this like trend in college parties where they would dress up like urban and like have like a essentially a black party, so it'd
yeah,
be a bunch of white kids dressing in blackface doing a college party. That you're like, okay,
that's offensive.
that's
Like,
offensive. Like that's just like one of those things that's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Versus
yeah,
um things like things that are I don't know, things where the person doing it is the butt of the joke.
yeah,
But yeah, um, I don't know which episode of 30 Rock was deleted. I know that like one or two episodes of 30 Rock were deleted. 30 Rock I wasn't that into, but I can tell you like I could like recite like every episode of Community by memory. So I don't know. And but it's the same. It's one of those things where one episode. It's also something that I don't think that they actually care about. They're just seceding to the mob, because if they
mm-hmm.
actually cared about it, then they would also have deleted the other episode where Pierce was doing brownface.
Yeah,
But they didn't, and the reason they didn't was because, and they also told Pierce in that episode, they're like, don't fucking do that, that's offensive.
yeah,
And so I don't know, one, it's obvious that they don't care, they just care about the money, but two, it's obvious that the mob just wants wins. Like it's just like this like Twitter mob that just wants
right, yeah.
wins.
I
They don't.
mean, because really taking that episode off of whatever database, like to where you can't see it, does that make things better for anybody? Like, does that provide material change in anybody's life? No. That just means you can't watch that episode anymore. But I think
Yeah.
that's the thing, because that's like a big like neolib type of thing, where it's like they'll get really mad at you if you say like a racial slur, but then they'll be like, um, super capitalist and just be like, hey, I know you're sad because you're poor and you're black, but how about you do a self-care day and go spend $300 on facial like stuff? It's
Yeah.
like that's not how you fix the problem. Like
Yeah.
taking those episodes off the air doesn't mean that racism is over. Like it doesn't do anything. Like it taking those episodes off the air didn't stop Republicans in Texas from passing a law that does discriminate against people when they're voting.
Yeah. That's a huge point that
Like
you can
that
make.
is way more important than a fucking episode of a TV show that's 20 minutes long. Like
Yeah, like, well, first off, like, I actually think that we lose stuff by censoring comedy and censoring stuff like that because we're actually talking about that stuff. Like, I had a joke that was specifically talking about like race relations and like kind of like how, but because a lot of people just didn't get the sarcasm of the joke and the fact that like I was making fun of the media
Hmm.
in that joke, a lot of people, and I think I told you about it before, is like I don't like dating white girls anymore. Too many people freak out when they disappear, like
Hmm.
implying that I'm a serial killer, but also implying that uh the media doesn't care, which by the way I think is something that's slowly changing now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, people just didn't, well, people didn't get that sarcasm. And actually, one of my one of my friends' girlfriends said something to me after a show just because of that joke, because it was just something that it's something that bothered her. She also wasn't like in the mood to like engage in a conversation about it. She just wanted me to know
Yeah.
that she was upset.
Right.
So she's like,
But
I didn't like,
I mean, I think the thing that's important is just like to explain what it is and be like, I didn't intend to, like, I didn't intend to hurt anybody. I think that the problem, whenever people talk about like cancel culture or whatever, is just that like there are so many people that like they just want to keep saying the N word because they think it's funny to say and they don't understand that it hurts people.
yes.
And like they don't care that people are hurt by the things that you're saying because as a comedian, the only thing that you're really supposed to do is be funny. And if you're
Hmm.
being hurtful, that's not funny.
I agree. That's why I think, like, I don't think that there should be any words or topics should be off the table for anybody. I just think that you have to be really, really careful. And like,
Yeah. Because
like,
there's a way to do it. Like,
yeah, like, well, we were talking about this last time. Like, if, oh, I do want to clarify something I said last time, but I'll get to it. We, I haven't even, I'm still editing that episode, but anyway, when I said the last time, in last episode, I said that women, were not used to being embarrassed or like were scared of getting embarrassed. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was like I think that like sometimes when young girls are brought up like when girls are brought up like they're not brought up like the same way that boys are. Like when boys do embarrassing things, it's funny. When girls do embarrassing things, it's rude. Like,
well, it's rude or like just the way people react is
yeah.
way different.
Yeah. So like if like a
Like
little
if it
girl
like
like farts, it's not funny. The same way
yeah,
that it's funny when a boy farts.
yeah.
And so and I think that like that's like one of the reasons why girls are girls aren't so girls
Because
I
because
think are more scared.
society tries to tell girls how they should act all the time and they should always be like perfect, which I think a lot of that is changing, thankfully. But for a long time, I read a lot of like Jane Austen type books. But I like Jane Austen because she writes like she makes these women complex characters and so often in history and in other like TV shows and like other media from that time period, women are not people, women are accessories. And I think some people still treat women that way, like they're
Oh
accessories.
yeah.
They're meant to be this nice. It's like okay, you have your phone. Your phone is a very smart device. Your phone is capable of many things, but you only want to use your phone for certain things. And I think I don't know if that's like a good analogy, but that's how people I think sometimes want to approach women, where it's like they want you to fit in this little place where you only do the thing that they expect you to do.
Yeah. So like, yeah, because it women are like an accessory in that fact that I want you for these things, look
Yeah.
pretty, do this stuff, but
But you're not
when
supposed to
you
be
have a
funny. I'm
need
supposed to be
from
funny.
me, yeah, but like or if you like have like a need, yeah. I actually know guys like that like they like they'll have like they'll date girls but not take them out in public because like they don't think that that girl like suits them like or um you know they're girls that they don't want to brag about and shit like that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like what a shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just a bad way to treat a human being.
yeah,
But the
that's
thing is like they don't see it's just like some people just don't see women as equal.
yeah, and it's better in America than other places, but it's still not perfect. And So when I make sexist jokes, I like to tell people that I'm not like I don't think of women as anything less than equal. So I don't think that you're punching down when you're talking about women. If you're making a joke about a woman, it's not punching down because it's a joke. Well, one, it's a joke. Women are smart enough and strong enough, like smart enough to understand it's a joke and smart and strong enough to take a joke. At the same time, like if I thought that I was punching down in a certain circumstance or to a certain person, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't find that joke funny.
Yeah. Well,
And
and that's what, like, I think we talked about this before too, when that guy was like freaking out about that joke that you meant and called you all these things, and I was like,
well, he
okay,
also
but the
said I
things
said
that
some
he
things
was
that I
doing,
didn't say.
yeah, yeah, he was. I mean, he was just on one. He just wanted to be mad about something, which is fine. But it was just like I don't think he really is listening to me, like, because I was like, all he did was say a joke, and when I talk to Andrew, he treats me with respect. Like you treat me like we treat each other as equals because we are. I mean, I'm smarter and funnier and better looking than you, but we're
But
kind of, we're
I'm
pretty
taller.
similar. Like we're, yeah, I guess. Good for you. Um, but no, but I was like, he treats me with respect. Like it was funny to me that he was talking down to me, like literally because he was like 2 foot taller than me. But he was also being very condescending to me. Like I didn't understand why that joke was sexist as a woman. Like I'm too like he needs to tell me that it's sexist.
Oh yeah. If you guys, if the audience wants to hear the joke really fast, which was, it's a joke that I think is too stupid to take seriously.
Yeah.
But it's like I think feminism right now is the most important thing in the world, or in our country anyway. In fact, I think it's so important that I think that we shouldn't let women be in charge of it anymore. Get a man in there. You know,
Get some work done.
yeah, get it done. You need some upper body strength to break that glass ceiling. Yeah, and that one actually was not going to use on stage. That one I rewrote it a bunch of times, and I wasn't going to use it on stage. I put it on my Facebook, and people thought it was funny. And that's something I'll probably like lose a Jeopardy job for sometime in the
Yeah.
future.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's funny because it's like you're obviously being a dick. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's your true opinion. And that
No.
you don't treat like I think that's the thing that people miss is like, okay, you can make a joke about somebody, I don't know how to say this. Like you can make a joke about a group of people, but if you treat people well, I don't see why it matters. Like how do I say this? Like so I tried to do a joke about like homeless people, but it wasn't like the homeless people weren't like the joke. It was just like this guy was kind of being weird because I told him that I was married to a woman, so he just like I don't know, he acted like I creeped him out,
Hmm.
but it's like he's homeless and he was like hitting on me and like being weird with me until like he asked me about my tattoo and I was like, "Oh yeah, I have a matching tattoo with my wife, my partner that she comes out here." Cuz like he saw my tattoo and he had seen my wife's tattoo before, but he didn't see us together. And he was like, "So what's up with that?" And I was like, "Well, we're married, so we have these tattoos." And he got like weird, like uncomfortable. So I was trying to make a joke about that where it's like, "Dude, you're homeless. How are you going to like are you just upset that I have I don't know. I was trying to figure out what to say about it. And I think it made people uncomfortable because they thought I was being derogatory towards the homeless, but it's like, "Look, I literally go out every single Tuesday and spend my money and like like mine and my wife's money to buy like sports drinks and snacks and waters and fruit and stuff to hand out to homeless people."
Yeah. No, I
So I
agree
think
with
I
you.
can talk about them if I want to.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I was making fun of him for being homeless. I was just like making fun of him for being homophobic and homeless
Yeah. No,
and
like
like
I
biting
think
the
that's
hand
fair.
that was literally feeding him.
Exactly. No, I like that. Like actually I like that a lot. No, yeah, I used to joke around about like getting cardio was murdering homeless people, and then somebody got mad at me for that. But like there was nothing nice. Like there was no niceties about that. It was just something that I just thought was silly to say. and somebody took it seriously. That's like another thing is like I don't think that you need to take every joke seriously.
No.
Like they're people too, and I was like, all right. I was trying to murder a lawyer. Sometimes like if you say the right person, it's just like the wrong person to
Yeah.
the group. Like if you're like, you know, I like to murder lawyers in my spare time, people are like, yeah. And I was like, but public defenders. And they're like, oh no, we need those.
Like, no, wait, we actually like those guys.
Yeah. So um
Yeah. Because
speaking
I
of
do, like, I do a joke about, just really quick, I do a joke about, like, white people. Because I do a joke where I'm like, I'm making fun of white people and, like, their eating habits and stuff. And, it's like my vanilla beaner joke where I'm like, sometimes people call me a tamale, which I thought was kind of racist. Like, what do you say to white people when they're on stage? Like, hey, mayonnaise, tuna casserole, what's going on? But then I'm like, no offense, white people. I love white people. I have a lot of white friends. I'm married to white people. Okay, where are my white people at? Can I get a hey yo? Can I get a mayo? Like, I make fun of white people, but it's like I'm not being hurtful to you. Like, I'm just picking on you because you're literally the highest ranking people in like the history of the world. So what do
yeah.
you?
Oh yeah, no, like
It's not racist.
I have the situationally Mexican joke. It's like I'm white and I'm Mexican, but I'm like situationally Mexican.
Yeah, when it's convenient, I'm Mexican.
Yeah, like when the cops show up, I'm like, hey, officer, you're right, they are
Right.
being noisy. Could you please walk me to my car? This is a dangerous neighborhood.
But then when you go to order tacos, you're like, okay, make sure can I have some extra cilantro and cebolla? Like,
Yeah. Like I don't want them to think I'm like a white guy in there.
right?
Like, because they're not going to give me the spicy stuff. I can't have spicy food now. This is a side note.
Ever?
Yeah. Well, because it might cause acid reflux, and that's bad for your lungs. Stupidness.
So for the rest of your life, you can't have spicy food.
Well, I don't know if it's for the rest of my life, but for a long time I can't.
That sucks.
Yeah, that really sucks. Um. So there's a lot to talk about this next story. Jeopardy. Mike Richards, the executive producer of Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, also the former host of Jeopardy for like 5 minutes, is officially fired. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Was it? Well, okay. I'm not really like a Jeopardy watcher, to be honest.
I am a Jeopardy
Like,
genius.
yeah. I mean, I've seen it a few times and like, I don't know. I just never watched it that much. Because I think like people have memories of watching Jeopardy at their grandma's house when they were a kid. And I don't. Because when I would visit my grandma, we would watch like court TV, which is
Hmm.
probably why I love gossip because I love drama.
Oh yeah,
Um, because I would watch that stuff with my grandma, or we would watch like novelas, or like I would watch unsolved mysteries all the time.
yeah,
So I just never got into like game shows and stuff because I was always watching just like people that died 40 years ago, and then court TV.
yeah. I I don't watch. I didn't. I've never watched like a ton of Jeopardy. Corey watches a lot of Jeopardy, and that's
Yeah,
something we were talking about before.
his girlfriend is like, she knows all of it.
Oh
She knows
yeah.
every single answer to every question. We went to their house to play Jeopardy one time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm smart. I think I could get some of these." And I answered like one out of every 10.
Oh yeah.
And she knew all. I was like, "I don't know how you know this."
That's Jeopardy is the only reason that like people like me can even be considered smart. Is like I'm good with
Because
like
you can
useless
remember
truth.
facts.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Like I can't do stuff.
Well, that's
I,
what a lot of people. I mean, that's kind of what most people think intelligence is. It's like like, people don't think you're smart unless you know like the first five presidents. It's like, I don't need to know the first five presidents to know like slavery was bad. Like,
yeah,
you can be smart and also bad at remembering facts. Like, I'm super bad. I wasn't good in history class because I would always forget dates. Like, I don't know when anything happened ever because time is a construct and it doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. Time is
But
bullshit.
like, I know what happened.
Yeah, it's generally speaking, this happened, and then I was born a little after that.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I can understand like you know, the difference between communism and socialism and capitalism and crony capitalism. Like, I don't need
Oh,
to know what happened in the year 1928. Like,
yeah. No, I agree with you. Like, there's different types of intelligence. Somebody was like telling me that like he's not smart, he's just a good athlete. Like, I think athlete, that's like a type of intelligence, being able to control your body like that.
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah, because I'm so bad at sports. I was I was at this like slip and slide birthday party a couple weeks ago and they had like a basketball hoop and I was trying like really hard. It was a small like little toy one, like you would ping it on your door or whatever.
mhm.
And I was trying so hard to like put the fucking ball in the basket and I got it like I think I must have shot like I don't know 30 or 40 times and I made it like 3 times
Yeah,
because my body just doesn't respond when I'm like, hey, you should throw it because like I can see the math. I was good in geometry. I can see the math of how it needs to go. I just can't make my arm do that thing.
yeah. Like, there's a ton of different types of intelligence. Like, I've met some girls, or like this girl specifically, who was like a genius in math. But like, if you talk to her, you would think that she was slow, or like you would think she was an idiot. So
Yeah.
the way that she talked and the stuff that she talked about, like the whole time I was like, oh my gosh. But
Yeah,
then,
like my older brother is a mechanical engineer and
mhm,
he is really really smart. But then one time he asked me, I'd made a carrot cake for my family and he goes, "Is this real carrot in here?" And I was like, everybody in this family thinks you're a genius. And you just asked me if there's real carrot in this carrot cake. And you're the smart one. And
yeah,
not me. I'm not smart because I don't have a fancy like chemical or mechanical engineering degree.
yeah,
But
like
yeah, it's like he's smart at some things and kind of dumb at other stuff. Like
yeah. No, like I was playing Trivial Pursuit with a lady who was a teacher, and I was annihilating her. Like, I was annihilating everybody. Like, I was answering like every question right. Like, I think I got like I had a turn that lasted like 8 turns, just because like I was just freaking killing it. And then but she was like, well, maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. And I was like, you teach people stuff. Like, you have a real skill that people pay you
yeah,
for. Like,
you're like I just remember shit.
I just have a good memory, and that is almost
Yeah,
it. Like, I still need my mom to help me with Zoom calls.
yeah. Every time I call, it's like Brenda's calling you.
Yeah. Like, I could have figured it out by now and just done it myself. But,
Is
I'm
she
not.
like she written in as a producer on the show?
I should probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah, she should
She'd
get some credit.
yeah.
Some royalties from all the advertisers that we're getting.
Oh, tons. Like, I think we're up to like 85 cents.
85 cents
Yeah. So, I mean,
through
like,
what's it called, Anchor or what?
Anchor, I think we might actually be a little more than that Anchor. Let me check for the folks at home. But anyway, I am what they call a Jeopardy genius. Not anything other than that. Like, not something smart.
So okay, so why is this man fired?
Oh, we are at $1.07.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. How you like that? Anyway, um, so so I don't know how I feel about it. Um, I think it's weird that people are getting fired for things that they're doing on their own private time. Um, and it's not like he said like, and I've listened to a few of the things that he said. Some of them were very vanilla. Like, they were saying that he was being sexist. Like, he was like just doing like that radio shock jock stuff. Him and another grown adult woman were like talking about taking nude selfies and stuff like that and sending them to significant others or whatever. And it didn't seem that bad. Like, it didn't seem like he was being rude, or it didn't seem like he was being predatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like he was like talking to like somebody. He was like, him and like a girl were having a conversation about like stuff that you have conversations about like on those type of shows.
Did
And
was the girl uncomfortable?
no, it didn't seem like she was at all. Like, she was laughing and she was joking
It didn't
around.
seem like she was. Did she ever like? Is she the one that's like, hey, this guy made me uncomfortable when he said that?
See, because that's actually one of the things that I have a problem with his coverage on, is because none of them say that. And I can't find any quotes from her saying that she was ever made uncomfortable. I've read like 4 or 5. I've actually read more than 4 or 5 articles on this. And
So people are upset because
and
he was being creepy towards a woman, and the woman didn't think that he was being creepy.
it doesn't seem like it, no.
She didn't make a complaint about it.
No, she's not the one that complained about it. It was somebody. It was one of those.
So other people were offended on her behalf.
That's what it seems like. Yes.
Okay.
My problem with this coverage is it was really hard to find the audio for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really difficult actually to find the audio for this, because and one of the reasons I didn't we didn't cover this last week was because I couldn't find any of the audio for it. And then so I was like, I can't I don't like making an opinion about things if I don't know the whole situation.
Right.
Or at least enough to where I can make.
Because you're smart.
Yeah. Like if it's one thing like with like if like it's like Harvey Weinstein and like everybody and their mother came out against him, like it's like, all right, I don't need to see all the evidence. It's
Right.
obvious something's going on. But if there's like
I think
a
you
couple,
should have said everybody and their daughter though, because I feel like that's more accurate.
yeah, okay, like everybody and their daughter, and was like, again, like saying like Harvey Weinstein did inappropriate stuff, and then
Yeah.
there's actually footage of it too. So then like that's one thing. Like I don't really need to look at all the evidence to be like, yeah, that guy's probably a creep.
Right.
But like I don't want to send somebody down the tube if I'm like not sure. And it doesn't seem, and one, I don't know why it was that hard to find any of this footage, where every one of these other ones, it was really easy to find the information to kind of look at it and see for yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't do anything to anybody. He said some things, and they don't have to give you a job for any reason, like, right? So if like there's any reason why they don't want to give you a job, that's fine. But to actually lose your job for things that lose a job that you already have, and I don't think that he was the right choice for the Jeopardy anyway. For Jeopardy, not the Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was the right choice anyway. I would have
The
preferred
Royal
LeVar.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, I would have preferred LeVar Burton or Ken Jennings. But
Yeah, Ken Jennings is the guy that's like won it the most times, right?
yeah, he has the record.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I don't know, it's just been dope. But or LeVar Burton. LeVar Burton's great and everything. So
yeah, I think that like I agree with you. I mean, it just also depends on whether or not, which a lot of people that you like, a lot of places that you work for, when you sign up, like when you sign to work with them, they do have like some sort of morality clause. Like at my work, especially because it's healthcare, you have to sign something that says like basically if you say anything about any of the patients here that gives away specific health information, like on Facebook, you're fired.
that makes sense.
So they, and if you do post something that's like gonna make the hospital like liable or whatever, like if they're gonna have to face legal troubles for something that you said or did, you can be fired. Which that's just how capitalism works. Like
Yeah, but like I can kind of understand that. Like I can understand where they're coming from on that.
right. Well, and
But
the thing that I was getting to is just like if he had some sort of thing where he signed like, you know, you if you're accused of sexual harassment, you're fired. But if she's not accusing him, then I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that he should be fired completely from like the Jeopardy because he said something that made other people uncomfortable but didn't make her uncomfortable.
yeah, it's like if somebody like
Like,
read
because he could
read
have
you.
just been like, he probably, I mean, he's older, right?
Yeah, he's a little older. Like it's like late 40s, early 50s,
Yeah.
something like
I
that.
mean, it's like, it's obviously still creepy, but you could just talk to him tell him that it's creepy, maybe he understands and he won't do it again. Like I think people are just afraid to like confront other people about when they're offended or when they're bothered, because there's been times where I've like somebody has done something or said something where I'm like, that's fucked up, like that's racist or that's homophobic or that's like sexist or whatever, and we can sit down and have a discussion about it, and I can help you understand like why you shouldn't do this thing. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean I'm trying to ruin your life. Like I
Yeah,
just want you to but I think that's like the disconnect there is like people just want, like we were saying earlier, people just want to win, like people just want to get rid of these people, but it's like I think some people, like I think everyone deserves forgiveness for the most part. If they are genuinely remorseful or like genuinely repentant of whatever they said or did, I think you can forgive them, especially if it's something that like it seems like it was a small thing that people were upset about.
yeah,
Unless
and
he actually, it later comes out that he's accused of actual sexual harassment on like a mass scale.
yeah, because well, when you said that like being accused, I still think that like accusations should be investigated and
Yeah.
fairly.
Well, and if she didn't care, then I don't see why, like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and what he was saying was like, I don't know, like it's something that like I was like a little bit like it's a little shock jockish, like like if you
Yeah.
ever listen to those old like shock jocks and stuff like that.
Right.
It was like a little bit like that. It was like that edgy humor that some people like, some people don't. But it didn't seem like he was doing anything that I thought was completely out of bounds or anything like that. Like something like what I had expected was like him like completely like tearing apart like some chick or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like if you ever listen to like Opie and Anthony or the old Howard Stern stuff, like you see like a lot worse stuff than that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and there are still like a lot of comedians that like do stuff like comedians, radio personalities, like hosts and stuff like that. Like people still like there's still obviously a lot of sexism and stuff, but it's like okay, so there was a comedian here. This is Selena's gossip corner. There was a comedian
yeah,
here that wanted to do a comedy show where all the women dressed up and then all the men dressed as women. Because he was like, I want to highlight the female comedians, which is like, that's not how you do it. That's a horrible idea. But he was like, and then the guys will dress up as girls, and we'll all do comedy from a woman's point of view. And I could have posted like on my Facebook like a long thing like, and this is why men are insensitive, and this person is an abuser and sexist. But no, I just said like, hey, A, I'm not gonna dress up. B, this is a horrible idea. I don't want to know what you guys think women think. Like it's gonna be condescending and sexist. And so like obviously we never did it. Like but I think you have to say something to the person like whenever you're in that kind of situation. Like if she had said in the middle of that conversation like, hey, what you're doing is making me really uncomfortable, and he just kept doing it and blew her off and it was like, ah no, come on, I'm just messing around, like that's one thing. But he could have been like, okay, I'm sorry, and I'll stop. I think it's just like people, and I understand why they're afraid to speak up, because like if she did do something like that, she would probably be considered difficult to work with, or like she could lose her job for fucking up the flow of the show or whatever. But I still think it's like if somebody's making you
yeah.
uncomfortable, they
Well,
might not know it, and it's your job to tell them, because they might be able, like, it could be completely unintentional. And if it's not, if it's malicious, then you go on Twitter, then you go write an article on Jezebel, and then you ruin their life. But I think you
yeah.
have to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I had a manager that there's no way that he didn't know what he was doing was wrong. Um, so like, no, I completely agree with you. I'd like as adults, like for adults anyway, like we're speaking just for
Right.
adults.
Yeah.
Um, like as
Well, I
adults,
mean,
like
I would never speak for children because I hate them and they're gross and I don't know what goes on in their heads.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, like I don't know. There's sometimes like I think where like adults need to like stick up for like kids and stuff like that. If like a
Right.
kid's like because like kids don't know how to deal with those situations. But
Right. Well, no, because I mean, a lot of times they just want the other person to be happy. Like kids are such people pleasers, and there are like adults that are people pleasers too. But I think it's important to like set your boundaries with people.
well, yeah, but like I think that as an adult, you still have responsibility over yourself, and I think it's almost disrespectful to tell like adults that like telling an adult like that should offend you, or telling an adult like you should be upset or you should like that's kind of like it's
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think we talk about this a lot. It's the same thing we were talking about earlier when that guy was telling me I should be offended by your sexism, and
yeah,
I know that you're not sexist,
nah. I mean like
or at least not like you haven't been sexist in your interactions with me. If I heard from a girl that you were being sexist with her, I'd be like, I'd probably talk to you about it. I'd be like, can you not treat her like that? Because that's horrible, and that's not how you treat me, and that's not how you should treat women. Like,
oh yeah,
I
that's
think you have to be an advocate for yourself. I understand that it's difficult.
yeah, and well like I do think that there's like some level that you should like advocate for other people, but like it's the depending on how you do it, it's disrespectful.
Well, yeah, and it also because it's like you're treating this person like they're a child, like they don't understand
Yeah.
why they should be offended.
Well, yeah, and then sometimes like I
Because like
some
I think there is I've seen a little bit of like traction on Twitter about people trying to get like the Boondocks canceled, like the TV show, the old cartoon,
yeah.
because they're like this whole TV show is making fun of black people, and it's like white people are saying this, but that show is incredibly successful among black people. Like it's a
Oh
good
yeah.
show. It's very funny and it is very like informative and it is like it's social commentary. But there are white people saying like on behalf of black people, I'm offended. It's like, okay, did they ask you to be offended for them?
Well, it's kind yeah, it's that's so shitty when people do that. Yeah. No, like the same thing with Speedy Gonzalez. That was like a bunch of white people trying to get rid of Speedy Gonzalez, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's like our one thing. That's our one guy in
right?
the Looney Tunes.
If you get rid of him, you get rid of all the Mexican representation.
Yeah. Like I realized that back in the freaking 40s, a white guy was doing a Mexican accent. Sure. Like I understand that, but it's still like it was all we had. Like Speedy Gonzalez is my dad's favorite character. And like
Yeah.
and
And
they
it's
were talking
also like it doesn't it's the same thing we were talking about earlier. Like it doesn't change it doesn't improve life for Mexicans. Like we now have more thankfully more positive representation in in
media.
entertainment and
Yeah.
in media. Like we just got Coco, that shit is dope.
Oh yeah, Coco. Oh dude, Coco
Shakira
made
and
me cry like
J-Lo,
3 times.
dude, I cried like as soon as I heard the music come on, I was like, but finally I'm being represented. Like
Oh
and
no.
it's not I wasn't even really being represented that much because my family doesn't even do Dia de los Muertos.
Mine doesn't either.
But it was like nice for me to see like, you know, Mexicans.
Oh yeah, no, like somebody was like it's racist uh having a Mexican throw a sandal. And I was like, no, that's super accurate.
Yeah.
Like that's happened to me multiple times.
Mexicans be throwing sandals. Like
Yeah. So like there's like a fine line between
throwing
like
tortillas
racism
on
and
the
just and accurate. Like
yeah. What?
there's racist and then just yeah, that's us. That's us.
Yeah.
We can't. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, having a video where a Mexican lady is throwing a chancla at a child isn't racist. A bunch of white people throwing tortillas on a football field in celebration is racist and also wasteful, and I hate it.
Yeah. I mean like were they
I
homemade tortillas or were
separate
they
that. No,
or
they're
were,
probably like mission tortillas, which is like, I mean,
yeah.
they're not good for eating anyway,
Yeah. You
but
know, like there's not a real loss there.
no.
The
It's still racist though. I still don't like it.
yeah. Did I ever tell you? Okay. I don't know if I want to tell this story. Have you ever had anything somebody say something to you racist like when you were a kid and then like as an adult like you realize like wait a minute, like as a kid like you didn't realize that they were saying anything like mean
I
and
don't
then
remember any specific incidences, but I remember when I was a kid, like I was um at a like in one of my I had a teacher that was like really racist in 5th grade. She stuck all the Mexicans and the one black guy in the entire school at the back of the class. And like she would
yeah,
always put us together at the same table.
I was like you guys should be friends.
Yeah, she was like segregating And it wasn't like an alphabetical thing because like my last name is Martinez. One of the other girls' last name was Villa. One of the black guy's last name was Williams. It's like if we're doing this alphabetically, I wouldn't be sitting next to these people. These people, like, I mean, they were my
Those
friends.
people.
Those people. That sounded bad, but it's like I know it wasn't alphabetical because I wouldn't be sitting in this chair. I would be sitting with the other M's. Like, I
Yeah,
knew it
I
was
would
being
be sitting next to
racist.
Martin and
Yeah,
Milton over there.
yeah.
Nah, so no, I didn't realize this until like a few years ago. Like I just randomly started thinking back to it. So I was in this place called the Moose Lodge when I was in Boy Scouts like years ago, and I was like just a kid, and we were playing pool, and like this random dude was talking to us, and then he found out that we were half Mexican, so he's like, "You're Mexican," and I was like, "No, I'm half Mexican. My mom's white, my dad's Mexican," and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "No, well, he's like, then just say you're Mexican." And like at first, like I didn't think he was saying anything bad, and then he like gave this analogy. He's like, you got a cup of water, put a little bit of dirt in it. It's dirty water. Doesn't matter how much dirt's in it. And I was like, okay. And then years later,
I mean, you're right about dirt, but you shouldn't talk about Mexicans and then dirty water. That's not a good.
yeah, it's like doesn't matter how much dirt it is, it's dirty water.
years years later, you're just like sitting on your couch eating tea, like watching TV, eating popcorn. You're just like, that was racist.
It's like that motherfucker. Yeah, that piece of shit. It
He
was like
was
a weird.
talking about you having dirty blood, is what he
Yeah,
said.
that's what he was saying. But like it was one of those things where I was like, I can't. I don't even know how to respond to it. Like then I got like angry. I was like, this son of a bitch. But
Yeah,
there's nothing I can do about it. Like
right.
how dumb am I that somebody like insulted me, and like almost 15 years later, I'm like, that son of a gun.
Well, when you're a kid, you don't know.
Yeah.
There's like a Dave Chappelle bit that he does about that where he's like, I went into this restaurant in Mississippi, and um, I walked in, and before I could even finish my sentence, I said, I would like to have, and the man at the register goes, the chicken. And he goes, I could not believe that shit. He was absolutely right. I was like, how did he know? How did you know I was going to get the chicken? And the guy goes, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. It's no secret around here that blacks and chickens are very fond of one another. He's like, as soon as you walked through the goddamn door, I knew you were going to get some chicken. He was like, I looked back on it. I was like, that, goddamn, that was racist. He's like, all these years I thought I liked chicken because it was delicious. Turns out I'm genetically predisposed to liking chicken.
Yeah. And he's like, now I can't eat it in public because people are like, oh,
Yeah.
he's a
Look at him. He loves it. Just like it's in the encyclopedia.
yeah. Me and my brother were talking about Dave Chappelle. My brother and I were talking about Dave Chappelle the other day.
Did your mom correct you just now?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
My so we were talking about like the Dave Chappelle like Rick James sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen that? My
Yeah.
brother somehow has not ever seen that, and I
What?
really don't. I thought we watched it together, but he had never seen the Dave Chappelle sketch, and so I was like telling him about it. But like I have to be very careful when I quote that
Mm-hmm.
Dave Chappelle sketch. Like as a white person, like as like a Hispanic white person, I got to be super careful. I got to be like,
Yeah.
but I was like, "Fuck your couch," and then there's more to the quote, but I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
But
That's smart.
but yeah, like he's like, man, I think Rick James really needs help, and it's like we did help him. We taught him respect. I don't know. Just every time I think of that
Yeah.
sketch,
Yeah.
it makes me laugh. Dave Chappelle,
Very funny.
his,
Kind of annoying sometimes, but you can't say that he's not a good comedian.
nah, yeah, can't. Well,
I think I
he
don't like when he does a comedy special where there's like he talks for 20 minutes and then he has like one joke at the end. Because to me, I just prefer comedy that's like joke, 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 joke. And
I
like you can be a little serious, but I think the main goal is to do jokes. And sometimes it just feels like he's just doing a speech.
I I get that. Sometimes I think with like the bird revelation, it was definitely like that a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Like I was like really interested in everything he had to say
Yeah.
in that because he's such a good like speaker and storyteller.
Right.
But Sticks and Stones, I really love that set, but at the same time, like it was also like Dave Chappelle does not read well. Like you watch that special, you laugh your ass off, and then you read what like the Young Turks wrote an article about it and like quoting some of the things that he said, and I was like, well, that's not exactly how he said it, is it? Like it's just like certain
Oh, the
jokes,
one about like the transsexual thing?
yeah, but like it
Yeah.
just didn't read right. Like it didn't
I
read
mean, it's
well.
also it was also one of those instances where because he is who he is, he just doubled down on saying the word tranny instead of just being like, "I'm sorry that I upset you." And I'll try not to do it again because I don't want to be hurtful. Like,
Well, I think he's one of the people that's gonna go comedy first. Like there was like a point where he's like talking about like every Black American needs to register, and you think he's gonna say for like to vote, and he's like for a weapon. So like
yeah.
it's one of those things like
Yeah, but I still don't think people should say tranny outside of the LGBTQ community. And I'm saying it because I can.
oh see
As the L in the LGBT, I can say it.
oh I don't
I don't know. Some people think that I can't. I don't know.
well like somebody's
Caitlyn Jenner might disagree, but Caitlyn Jenner is a horrible human being.
Caitlyn Jenner is a horrible human being, but homie could run back in the day.
That is true. Very good athlete. Also a murderer.
Also killed somebody while texting.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, did I show you? I'm gonna post it on my Facebook. There was a lady I saw on the highway, and I took multiple pictures of her. She was not. She did not look away from her phone the whole time. Every time I looked at her,
Yikes.
I didn't start
Yikes.
taking pictures of her till a little while. Like I was like, that lady needs to look at the road.
Yeah.
And I was like, that lady's still not looking at the road. And then I was like, I'm gonna take pictures of this.
Yeah. You should post it on the Reddit thing that's like idiots in cars.
Uh, I should.
Yeah.
I just. I
Although
just got
people might
approved
be
of.
like, well, how do you have these pictures? You're like, I wasn't driving, obviously.
I wasn't. I'm not allowed to drive.
Really?
Yeah, because of my airbag and my license expired
Oh.
and my eye. I can't see.
Oh, yeah.
Although they
Do we
might
want to
fix
do
it.
they
Oh,
might be able to fix it?
they might be able to fix it. Yeah. So
Do we want to do the Olivia Rodrigo story real quick? And then the open mic starts at like 8. I have to go sign up.
okay. Olivia Rodrigo. Um, supposedly he's copying a bunch of songs. Olivia Rodrigo is a sort of TikTok star that got famous.
Hmm.
Um, so her song "Good for You" is essentially just misery business.
Yeah.
Or
I heard like the mashup of it, and honestly, I like it. It sounds like I haven't heard her song by itself, but I've heard Misery Business like 8,000 times. But I listened to like the mashup, and it's a bop. Like I would play that song like at a party.
yeah, and I actually like "Good for You." Like I have to, as an adult male, like have to pretend that I don't like teeny bopper music, but I do. Like I like stupid pop music.
It's
But
enjoyable.
yeah, is this stuff that I have to roll up my windows when I listen to? Otherwise, a biker gang is
And
gonna
like
murder me.
not listen to it real loud. So,
Yeah, I have to secretly listen to it,
yeah.
like that and Taylor Swift. But the thing is, she has like all of her songs seem to be like infringing on somebody else because Taylor Swift, Elvis Costello.
Yeah. Well, okay, the thing that I'll say it's like she's young, right? She's 18. She's been making music for like a couple years, I guess.
Yeah,
And I'm did she start on TikTok by like singing other people's songs?
I actually don't know.
Was she doing like covers?
She may have been.
Well, maybe that's how that happened. It's just like she's so used to doing covers. She's young. Like it's hard at that like when you're that age to like make your own sound. And sometimes you don't realize that you're doing something that sounds like something else until somebody else points it out to you. Like it's like that parallel thinking kind of thing. So, okay, I used to do this joke that was like America may run on Dunkin', but Dunkin' Donuts gives this American the runs.
Hmm.
And I thought I had come up with it because I was like, I've just been saying it. Like, I've been doing this as a joke for a while. I did it like when I first started. That was one of the first jokes that I ever did. And then I was reading a book, like I was reading this book that I've had for like a few years. I was rereading it a few months ago, or maybe like a year or so ago, and I realized that line was in that book.
Crypto
Like I,
amnesia.
huh?
Crypto amnesia. There's a
Yeah,
term for it.
but it's like I didn't intentionally steal it, and she's probably not intentionally stealing. She's just young and is having a hard time. Like I'm sure she's just having. And also, is she writing her music or does somebody write it for her?
She has a team. Like it's her with
So then it's probably her team's fault. Like,
that's what I would blame.
yeah. Also,
Like
she's a kid, she's 18. And I think if she's giving them like songwriting credits on it, I think she's trying to fix it. Like,
yeah, like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I
I
think
think
it's
that's
one
the way
thing.
you do it. That way, like, the song can still be around and you're not going to get sued if you're giving them credit.
Yeah.
I think that's the right thing to do.
Well, like and everything's built off other stuff. Like there's a finite amount of like riffs and stuff like that. And
Right.
like the same thing with like comedy and stuff like that. This could be our
There's
comedy
only so
question.
many there's only so many premises.
Yeah. So every any comedian that has like any sort of like catalog is going to have jokes that are similar to other jokes. It's like one
Yeah.
thing if you're like Carlos Mencia and like you're just straight up ripping off jokes
Right.
versus being like having like a joke that's similar. Like there was a joke that I had that and then Jimmy Carr, I think
Yeah,
we
I think we
discussed
talked about that.
that I killed the joke because like I don't think anybody's gonna believe me that I wrote that joke first. But like
Yeah.
also I don't think Jimmy Carr stole that joke. There's like
Right.
the like thinking and then but how do you feel about like comedians like if you and another comic are having a conversation and then like you say something funny during that conversation and then like all of a sudden that conversation ends up on stage.
I mean, if I say something funny that like makes the other comedian laugh, I probably call dibs. Like
Yeah,
after
that's
it
what I would
happens,
think
I'm like,
too.
okay, I'm gonna do that as a joke. Or if they beat me to it and they're like, hey, can I do that on stage? I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, but I would say that you would have to ask.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, not like that happened to me.
Because I did like I've done that before too, where it's like, so I fell off of a Lime scooter, and then
Mhm.
I posted like a video online, and somebody was like, dang, you should go to the hospital. You got Lyme disease. And I was like, that's really funny. It's like a dumb little, but it's kind of corny joke. But I was like, oh, I want to do that joke. So I asked
Uh,
him if I could do it, and he was fine.
oh yeah, like every now and then, like I'll hear somebody like say a joke. I'm like, I wish I thought of that. That was good.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is a situation that happened to me. I was me and another comedian were talking. Another comedian and I were talking, and
Thanks, Brenda.
Selena says thank you. Anyway, another comedian and I were talking, and and this was actually even a joke. Like I wasn't telling him that it was a bit, but I was telling him like spell check doesn't help me out. Like I wanted to text my girlfriend that she was a hypocritical bitch, but like I accidentally text her that she was a hypothetical bitch, and like I don't tell him the hypocritical part. Like is like spell check fucked me up, and I told my girlfriend she was a hypothetical bitch, and then it made the third comedian laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't like talking to us, but he just thought it was funny. He's like, "That's funny," and I was like, "Thanks." And then he got called up on stage and then did that joke.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I was like, "I wasn't even talking to you." And then so I
It's like
was
it's not
like,
that I was gonna do the joke, but you can at least be like, hey, can I do that? Like,
"Yeah," like saying, "Hey, hey, that's funny." It's not like you don't know whether or not like. And then he just like hightailed it out of there because I was gonna talk to him about like I was gonna be a dick, but I was gonna talk to him about it. And then he just hightailed it out of there.
yeah.
And I
I
was
think
like,
what I think that has happened to me before too, where like I was the one that told the joke, but then I gave credit to the comedian that actually did it because there was somebody on stage that was doing like, I don't know, comparing. They were like making like noises, but to me it sounded like Mortal Kombat noises. They were doing like a joke about sex or something, I think. Um, and the noises they were making sounded like the song from Mortal Kombat. It was like dun 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 dun, dun like it sounded like Mortal Kombat music, and I was laughing at that about that at the bar with Aaron Durbin, um, and so he made
"Mhm."
the joke where he was like, "Finish her," like, So after that comedian was done, I went on stage and I said, I like that Mortal Kombat. Like I did the thing where I said like finisher. I can't remember the whole thing. And then everybody laughed about it, and I was like, actually, you guys, that's from Aaron. Like, I think if you do it that way, like you're giving credit, that's fine.
No, I
And
agree.
if you
Like,
ask, then it's fine. But I've also seen comedians or I've heard comedians like get together to do writing groups, and then one person steals all the jokes that everybody wrote.
oh yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like have to like, that's one thing about like writing groups. Like what I think is like if you're working on a joke and then somebody gives you like a better punchline for that joke, that's kind of what the writing group's for.
Yeah.
But then like if like everybody's just
That
gonna
doesn't
like,
make it their joke now.
yeah, kind of, but like at the same time you're supposed to help them too because it's like a give and take.
Right.
But yeah, my thing with writing groups, like I don't like, I just, my brain works better when I'm around people and I'm trying to impress somebody. Think like my brain doesn't work good when I'm by myself typically.
Yeah.
Like I can get busy work
Well, because
done.
yeah, I mean, because whenever you're trying to write comedy, you have to think like, obviously, it's about making other people laugh, and it's hard to know if what you're saying is going to make other people laugh unless it has made people laugh before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You ever have like any of those jokes that got away, like you forgot to write them down, but
all the time.
yeah, me too. There was the one that got away from me, like it was like one I was out drinking with my friends and like I don't know, I don't remember what I said, but everybody was like in stitches laughing and like they were like, "Ah, that's funny, write that down." So I did, but all I wrote in my notebook was that funny Godzilla thing. So like the next day, like when I looked at that, I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
That funny Godzilla story. It's never gonna make it on stage,
No.
but I'm sure it was hysterical.
Lost forever.
Lost the
Yeah,
time.
I was going through because I had to do like a 30-minute set, so I was trying to pick like all the jokes that I've told that were good. And apparently, I used to do a joke called pepper spray
Hmm.
all the time. I used to do it all the time because I have it written down in several set lists. No idea what that joke is. I was like, well, it's funny, but I guess it wasn't that funny because I don't fucking remember.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah.
Just pour one out for the ones that got away.
Yeah. No, I think I the same thing I have is like a joke like that where like the president's joke, and Corey has one too where he was talking about it. Oh, by the way, just for the audience, Corey's not going to be here for a couple of weeks. He's got to get settled. But we are going to unveil a new banner very soon. Do you have anything before we go? I think we discussed everything.
No,
Everything
no. I
was
do recommend listening to that mashup of that Olivia Rodrigo song and Misery Business because it's good. It's
it's
fun.
a jam.
Yeah, it's about, as the kids say, it slaps. Do people still say that?
Slaps. Oh yeah. No, people say that. Children say that. Oh, all right. Now, so did you know that pandas aren't endangered anymore?
I did not know that.
Pandas aren't endangered anymore, and they're killing people. Look it up. We're not covering that story.
Okay, we'll talk about it next week. That's a little
Hey,
cliffhanger.
cliffhanger. Great movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right. So that's our show. Please like, share, and subscribe. My name is Andrew Holiday,
My name is Selena.
and we are sorry for wasting your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Later, Selena.